So for this week's map critique, we're actually going to look at a couple maps that I made for myself for a publication that I did on location filming in San Diego. And throughout, I like to critique my own maps because students get tired of me always picking on their maps. So I want to show that I'm not immune to doing a self-critique. So this is one of the maps I did on the production of filming sites. And it's a very unique map in that it's uses a number of different programs to actually generate it. That the 3D element was generated in ArcScene, where the image came out of ArcGlobe, and a lot of the texture work was done in Photoshop. And then I actually like to do a lot of my labeling and some of the line work for the design elements in Macromedia Freehand. So sometimes I'll use different programs to get a different effect. But so the thing that we can look at again is let's look at point lines and areas and see how they're symbolized. So the main thing we have with points is the hot spot, cold spot, or neutral spots. And we could call the mean center a point as well too. But if we look at these and see how they're symbolized, they do have a bit of a pop effect. The white and the red, like they're sitting above. And when you create a three-dimensional map, you can set layers. So this is like slightly above this kernel density ground. So it gets a little bit of a pop effect and they don't disappear. Even when they get around downtown, a little of them are disappearing in there, but we get the effect. The mean center and the weighted standard deviation ellipse have a nice color contrast with the white and the red and the orange scaled kernel density there, so that it's not getting lost, so that we can actually make it out. The labeling is mainly for referencing locations so that we have an idea of where we're at. And you can see it looks like there's two different fonts that are being deployed. A serif font here with the actually, where it's got the little fancy stuff. And I remember this is Georgia is the name of the font. That looks like a serif font and an italics kind of showing you the area of the Pacific. And then a sans serif font here for labeling inside San Diego County. And so the labeling here is done very clean because we want to just show them the location and not draw attention to it. And these are a little bit more prominent to recognize boundaries. Let's take a look at one other map that I did for this publication. And this was a map of the television show Renegade, the guy that used to be a bounty hunter and ride his motorcycle around. Well, anyway, this is a statistical analysis of where Renegade production occurred. And the thing that's interesting about it is how the color choices were done, and we're going to find the one error that's on the map. And I had to find it, and it was corrected in the final publication before it went to print. Let's see if we can find it. So the first thing that we can do is to actually read the map and see how the colors are being used. So notice year 1, 2, 3, and 4, and temporal differences are nominal differences. So we're looking at color changes, like I'll say nominal is like apples and oranges. So each year gets its own color. And then that theme is stretched across from activity space, which are literally these what are called convex holes, and they encompass all of the production points. So it's like taking and putting, imagine all these little dots everywhere, and then that's just hitting the outermost points to encompass the area. That's what an activity space is. A directional distribution ellipse is showing you the average area within which most of the production is occurring, and then the mean center is the center of that standard deviational ellipse there. There's also a kernel density going on, and kernel density is just showing you literally what it says. It takes points and makes a continuous surface, so you can see here where some of the densities are a little bit higher. And so you can get kind of a feel for where things are really occurring. So notice that the orange scale does not get involved with the purple, blue, green, or red, that they're very contrast different, so they're not fighting with each other for attention or getting lost. And then there's 2 points down here at the bottom. Stu Segal Productions, which is an independent production studio, has a huge backlot. So we label that on the map. and Marina Village Conference Center, which is where Renegade had the Indian bounty hunter had his office. So they had what's called a standing set that they would return to throughout production over a period of time. And note that I just found my air. Notice that the color on the Marina Village Conference Center here is not the same as the one here. And that's where the air is. Also notice some of the consistency with the design within this map as a whole map element. That we have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, so we're reading it like a natural map. The north arrow hugs both sides, and so I don't have to repeat north arrows in both maps. But I do have to repeat the scale bar, because if you actually look, they're at slightly different extents of what we're seeing in the map. So it does require the scale bar. This map, I actually made this graph in Excel, copied it as a TIFF file, and then imported it into ArcGIS as an image to stick down here. And like most maps that you do for academic journal publications, they do not have titles because you usually have a figure title.